A very long time ago, a huge, powerful giant lived in a castle with the most beautiful garden in the world. It was a paradise of soft green grass, blossoming peach trees, and birds that sang all day long. The children from the nearby village absolutely loved playing there every afternoon after school. One day, the giant, who had been away visiting a friend, finally came home. When he saw the children laughing and playing on his grass, he grew furious. "What are you doing here?" he roared in a terrible voice. "This is my garden, and no one is allowed to play in it but me." The terrified children scattered. To make sure they never came back, the giant built a massive stone wall all around his property and hung a sign that read, "Trespassers will be prosecuted." Now, the poor children had nowhere to play. Soon, spring returned to the countryside, bringing tiny blossoms and singing birds with it. But in the giant's beautiful walled garden, it was still winter. The birds refused to sing for him, and the trees completely forgot to blossom. The north wind, the snow, and the frost loved the cold silence and decided to stay, turning the grass gray and coating the peach trees in ice. The giant paced his freezing, solitary garden, growing more miserable by the day. "I can't understand why spring is so late," he grumbled to himself. But the long, cruel winter dragged on for what felt like an eternity. Then, one morning, the giant awoke to the loveliest music. It was a little linnet bird singing its sweet song just outside his window. He leaped out of bed and looked outside, and what he saw was marvelous. The children had found a small hole in the wall and crept through, and everywhere a child had stepped, the snow had melted away, the trees were bursting into bloom, and birds were singing. Spring had finally returned, following the sound of the children's laughter. But the giant noticed that in the farthest corner of the garden, it was still winter. A tiny, frail little boy stood there crying because he was too small to climb the tree. The tree itself was still covered in frost, its branches too stiff to bend down and help him. In that moment, the giant's heart melted. He finally understood. "How selfish I have been," he cried. "Now I know why the spring would not come. I must knock down this wall and let the children play here forever." He rushed outside, but when the children saw him, they all fled in fear. All except for the small boy in the corner, whose eyes were so full of tears that he didn't see the giant approaching. The giant gently came up behind him and lifted the little boy into the branches of the icy tree. Instantly, the tree burst into blossom, and the little boy threw his arms around the giant's neck and kissed him. When the other children saw that the giant was kind, they came running back, and with them came the glorious, full-blown spring. The giant took a great hammer and tore down the stone wall, declaring that his garden now belonged to the children. From that day on, he was never lonely again, spending every afternoon playing with his new friends. Years passed, and the giant grew old and frail. One winter morning, he looked out and saw the little boy he had helped long ago, standing beneath the only blossoming tree in the garden. The boy was bathed in a light so bright it looked like gold. But when the giant got closer, he saw the marks of nails on the little boy's hands and feet. The giant fell to his knees in awe. The little boy smiled and said, "You let me play once in your garden. Today, you shall come with me to my garden, which is paradise." And when the children came to play that afternoon, they found the giant lying peacefully under the tree, covered in pure white blossoms. His story teaches us that a selfish heart will always live in a perpetual winter, but true happiness is always found in generosity and love. Thank you so much for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more tales that warm the heart. We'll see you next time.